Greetings and salutations, Cleveland and the rest of the planet. Welcome to a special program. It's called Remembering Reggie. It is a tribute to Reggie Kelly. And I have three very special guests on me to reflect on his life and share some experiences. I have with us Ms. Anita Rose Banks. We also have Ms. Shirley Cook. And we have Evelyn Wright. Now, I'm going to be transparent and let everybody know the first person that I called was Evelyn Wright, and I heard about his transition from our good friend Terrence Spivey. So after he shared that with me, and I thought about it for a few moments, I just decided that it would be a great idea to give folks in our area an opportunity to reflect on his life. So I'm really happy to welcome Anita, Shirley, and Evelyn, all of whom I'm sure had some relationship with him, knew of him, encountered him in the different spaces and places in Cleveland where he honed his craft. Many of you may know that he was a consummate singer. I found out later in life that he was actually somebody who was involved in theater as a director and an actor and other things like that. So I'm not going to talk about what I know about. I want to talk about what you know about. So, Evelyn, you were the genesis for this program, so why don't we start with you? Tell us about your relationship with Reggie and what you'd like to share.
Oh wow. Well, Reggie and our relationship goes back maybe over 20 something years. I met him. I think I was performing in a place on Larchmere called the Zen. I don't know if you remember that room.
I remember.
Remember the Zen? Yeah, I
Mhm.
think that's where I met him. And then I was over at Club Isabella, and he would frequent that place a lot. And I worked with Dr. Dave at the time, and he would come in and sit in with me because all the singers would come over. You all singers, you know about that. Shirley and Anita would come over to Club Isabella and different places like that, and we just grew to uh, enjoy each other because uh, we had a love for the Great American Songbook. We love Nat Cole. We love Burt Bacharach and Hal David. Those songs like that. So that was our commonality of getting together, and we loved it. And we grew to be great friends. And I tell you, I am sitting here still in a daze. That was my friend, my dear friend that I'm going to miss. And as I think about it, he was going to perform at the Bop Stop coming up on the 21st. He was doing this show. He said, I'm not going to do a Christmas show. I just want to, do, a lot of the standards and things like that. So after his passing, the Bop Stop reached out to me and wanted to still keep the date and honor him and celebrate his life. So hopefully on the 21st, we'll be able to do that. But yes, he was my dear friend. Yes.
Yes, and we'll need to do everything that we can to let folks know that that's going to happen, and hopefully folks can show up in full force. And look forward to hearing you sing on that evening.
Well, I'm
Uh,
surprised. And the thing is about that, the last time Reggie saw me perform was at the Bop Stop. He was there. So that's going to be very emotional for me. And I literally, Vince, I spoke to him. It was either a day before he passed or 2 days before he passed. So, because we talked all the time, he was so funny, and he calls me EW, and I would call him, "You're the one," and he always kept me laughing. Just a beautiful spirit. And I have, like I say, I've lost a dear friend.
yes. Were there any performances that you were both involved in that you can remember?
Oh yeah, back in July, we did one of those candlelight series. It's based out of Chicago, and they brought it to the Maltz Performing Arts Center, and we performed together with that. And also, a couple of years ago, we did the Christmas show with the Cleveland Jazz Orchestra. So we did a few things together. Uh huh. Yeah,
Yeah.
those were good.
His talent was exceptional,
Mm,
and you're with two ladies who also have exceptional talent. I want to
yes.
to Shirley and ask you the same question. Were there any performances that both of you were involved in, or was it a situation where basically you just had an opportunity to observe him in action in various ways?
Okay, personally, I did not know Reggie for quite a long time. I heard so much about him from my friends. And every time I look around, my friend, one of them was Jean. Oh, Reggie Kelly's singing tonight. I'm going to go. I'm like, okay, you know. But I met Reggie. I think I've been knowing uh, personally Reggie just a few years, you know. And I saw him at the Caramoo in a play, and it was so good. I said, wow, he had me on my feet. Really, he really had me on my feet. Now, the next time I got close to Reggie was on a New Year's Eve. There was a New Year's Eve program. I know we had 6 band members, and I didn't even know that Reggie was going to be on that program, because whoever put it together, I didn't see the advertising or anything like that. But I guess Reggie was something else, because I guess I was taking a little bit too long to get up there and get started. And Reggie, next thing I know, Reggie had the mic and Reggie was on. I guess he said, we don't have time for this, But I have grown to really, really love Reggie.
Mm-hmm.
The last time we have performed, well, I could say as collaborative, with all the musicians. This summer we were all together. We had a good time at the
Yes,
park.
forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, we were all at the park and we had a good time. And he had me laughing as usual because Reggie kept me in stitches. Okay.
Oh my God, that was
But
big.
it was real. What he was talking about was real. I said, Reggie, that's why a lot of the famous comedians are famous, because they tell real stories. I said, you need to stop. But Reggie was a wonderful, wonderful guy. And the last time I have had conversation with him on the phone. And I was so pleased at that time to be able to seem like get closer to him, because I didn't feel that, he was way out of I was at, where I was at. But it was an honor. It's always really great to meet people like that and to have some kind of closeness with them. The last time I saw Reggie was in September.
Mm.
And when I walked, Evelyn was singing with the band, and Dream Ivy was there. And,
Yes, yes.
it was a wonderful afternoon. And I saw Reggie, and when I walk in, I don't like to, you know, I'll be sneaking in, so I could just be quiet. But Reggie spotted me. He said, "Oh, here come Miss Cook," you know. And I was like, "Oh,
Oh,
So that's the last time I saw him,
mm.
and I'm very, uh, so as everyone else, I want to start crying, but
Just start. Yeah, please. Uh,
Yeah.
because Evelyn and I, we both been crying.
listen, we waterfalls, aren't we?
But I'm very touched by his leaving because he was such a wonderful force. He
Right.
was such a wonderful guy. He was
Mhm.
real. He was
Yes.
down to earth. Wasn't no, shame, and whatever he had to say, he said it. And that's what I really like. I like people that come on out with it. If you're gonna hurt my
Yeah.
feelings, fine. I'll learn from it. Let's do this.
Yes.
Reggie was a wonderful, wonderful guy.
Anita, you're kind of the baby in the bunch, so to speak, maybe. Tell us
Yeah.
about what you knew about Reggie and some of the encounters that you may have had with him.
Okay. Yes, I want to say Reggie Kelly was like a mentor or a role model for me. While I was not that personally close to him, he was a mentor in just what he did. In what he did on stage, I learned so much from him by the wonderful singing, his style, the jazz elements in his singing, and by how natural he was on stage, how effortlessly he did what he did, and how naturally he talked to the crowd. just as though you were in his living room. So I just thought he was a wonderful, wonderful performer. When I knew him was really in this last phase of his life, this jazz singing
Yeah.
phase. I didn't really know him in that theater phase, but I knew of him from a lot of other people. Once I did meet him, I learned about him from some other people, like my friend Barbara Finley, who knew him in theater coming up through Caramoo. She started in Caramoo as a child, as I believe he did, but she was behind him. So she learned from him. She danced his choreography. She did plays where he directed. And he was like a father figure, or maybe like a big brother or godfather to her. And then I've heard from other people, even at the memorial service that we went to, that there were other people who had that kind of relationship with him. And I think it's just so remarkable that he touched so many people and that he mentored so many people. But for me, like I said, back to that jazz singing, I went and heard him, it must have been a couple years ago, do a concert around the holidays. And he had a holiday CD that was out, which I purchased. It's just wonderful. I mean, it's just for somebody who really has jazz roots like I do as a singer. He, to me, he's just up there with the greatest, the singers that I love: Carmen McRae, Ella Fitzgerald, Sarah Vaughan. I mean, I thought he was just about to blow up as a jazz artist and be all over the world and be known everywhere. He's that artist worthy of, how do they say it, worthy of greater recognition.
Yeah. Yes.
He just was there. He just had everything that I want in a jazz artist. So one of my lovely occasions that I had hearing him was at the Bop Stop, and I was there with these other two lovely ladies. We all converged there, and it was just a wonderful time.
Yes.
He was
You know,
amazing.
ironically, the last time that I saw him was at the Bop Stop, and it was one of those occasions where they were doing, I believe, a recording or broadcast, and this is probably during the COVID age when they didn't have audiences, and he invited me to come and take photographs of him. So
Oh.
the photograph that you saw of him on the invitation, I've
Hmm.
actually gotten it blown up.
Oh.
So if you can see
Beautiful.
this 20 by 40 canvas wrap is going to join Eddie Backus in the wood window at Larchmere Arts.
That's
Amazing.
beautiful.
Yes, and the thing about Reggie was we had a conversation about taking his picture. And I know many of you can relate to this because you are all mistresses of the microphone. But I talked to Reggie about holding the microphone up to his face because when you do this, people can't see your mouth.
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
And as a photographer, I don't want to take a picture of you with your hand in front of your mouth and we can't see it because the microphone is blocking it.
I get it.
So I had to get different angles, and the beauty of it was there was nobody in the Bop Stop, so I could get those angles, and I was able to take that photograph.
Oh.
But what I learned from him was about how he used the microphone.
Yeah.
So it was like it was a real subtle thing, but he would hold the microphone close so he didn't have to scream at you. He could give you something real subtle, you know.
Yes.
And you know that there are some singers like Patty and others who at times they hold the microphone down here. They
Mhm.
hold it down here because their voice is so powerful.
Yeah.
You know, one of the ways that I judge the abilities of singers and folks in general who are in the medium that use microphones is by how they use microphones. And this is just a word to those of you who do use microphones. Watch comedians. Watch somebody like Dave Chappelle, who holds the microphone down in front of his chest. Eddie
Yeah.
Griffin holds the microphone down in front of his chest. But the key that they have is they have professional recording and sound engineers who know how to maximize their voice so they can make the adjustments. But
Mm.
the amateurs, they're there like this
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, no,
the whole time.
yeah.
But that's what I learned from Reggie. Yes. So we've talked a little bit about some of the things that he was involved in. I know that at one point he directed Black Nativity, I believe.
I think he did. Was it a couple years ago? And he put a new spin on it. He made it.
Mhm.
It was futuristic or something. I forget how what he did. He made it kind of. Uh, I don't know.
Yeah,
But
it
yeah,
was different. Yeah, it was different from some of the other productions. And
that
again, I just so happened to have photographed that entire play.
okay.
So
You
somewhere in the
photographed it or did video?
it was mostly photographs. I don't know if I did any video or not, but
Oh,
I definitely did the photographs, and it was magnificent. You know, being able to watch directors like Terrence Spivey in action, like Reggie Kelly in action, it just gives you a much greater appreciation for the craft because the directors are in tune with every single
Oh,
nuance, all the movements, where the lights are, what's the sound supposed to be. And they just have an ability to pick everything apart and put it together so that it makes sense to the audience and they're able to convey what they're trying to convey. So, it's great to know folks who are so in tune with their craft and give audiences the benefit of their knowledge. And Reggie was definitely a master of that. But the other thing that I wanted to mention is something that Anita raised. And she said that he touched so many people. That's the thing, I guess, for me that I remember about him more than anything else, because I know Reggie had personal struggles. I mean, I didn't know him as well as perhaps some of you do or did, but I know that he had struggles, but he pushed through them. And I was just floored when Terrence told me through inbox message on Facebook. I was just in a state of shock. It was just unbelievable.
me too.
I mean,
oh,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah, I just feel, like these ladies have said, you know, in my words, but what I got out of it, he's just gone too soon,
Yes.
just
Yes.
way too soon. And for me, it was very unexpected. I just was looking for years of hearing him. There's nothing like hearing an artist live, other than, on the recordings. It's something special about hearing live concerts. And I was just looking to hear that for years to come from Reggie Kelly. I really
yeah,
was.
If I may speak, at the memorial, at the service, listening to the people that have worked with him professionally and the friends that knew him really and worked with him for hours and hours and hours to get it right. It helped me so much to listen to these people to get. I was closer to Reggie then, when they were speaking about him. And it just really, really touched my heart because these all of them worked so hard, and he was a driving force from what I understand from the members that got up to talk. And I was really, really wanting to hear more and more and more because, being out here performing and things like that, a lot of times you, I could get a little lazy. But when I was listening to them speak about the hours that they put in, I know about those hours because that was my beginning. But just to know, to see why he was Reggie Kelly is because he put his whole heart
Whole
into
self.
it. He put
yeah,
his heart into it, and it was my pleasure to meet him, and I felt very special just being able to talk with him, especially when we talked on the phone a few times. I was just so happy to for him expressing himself and really just being real. We just talking. So all of that helps, and it's a shame that when someone leave that we really don't know that person. There are people that are reaching out every and asking questions and things. A lot of times people don't have time, but he had time.
Yeah.
Now, if he didn't want to be bothered, he let you know. But
Yeah.
it was my honor, and the people that spoken on his behalf at the funeral, I'm gonna tell you, I really have a lot of respect for that, and it really touched my heart.
What I learned from a lot of the folks who talked was that he was really a perfectionist.
Yes.
He loved the art. Not only did he love people and he cared enough to interact with people on a deep level, but he loved the arts that he was involved with, and he wanted things to be right. He wanted everything to be the best. I remember one of the people talked about something on stage where he had to be reprimanded by the director, Reggie. And then later on, when he got a role in Hollywood, Reggie had called him and said, don't make me have to come out there and snatch you by the neck. Like, you better do right. Do what you know to do. Do this thing right. Do it like you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Don't be acting up. Don't be misrepresenting Cleveland and
That's
Karamu and me and anybody else who taught you. Do this thing right. It was that kind of thing.
Yeah, he really knew what he wanted. I'm telling you, down to when he would do the staging, he wanted a certain look on the stage. He wanted everything to be just right. He just wanted everything to be just on point, and that's who he was.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Evelyn, you probably knew him more than anyone else on this broadcast. What can you share with us about him that we don't know?
Oh wow, that's a good question because he was so funny. That's the one thing I look forward to when he would call me. I'm going to get a good laugh. He was so funny. He would crack jokes, but everyone knew he was a perfectionist. He knew what he wanted. Even when it got down to the songs, he would rearrange everything to make them different. He was so creative, but everyone knew that. But as far as not knowing anything about him, I would say maybe the humor. I think he was so funny. Yeah.
Yes. Well, another thing that came up in our conversation was the fact that he was not widely widely known as he should have been. And I could probably say the same thing about each of you, because you all have international level talent, and I can say that without reservation because you are all very, really good at what you do.
Thank
um what does that say about Cleveland that we can have such high level talent that goes unrecognized, that goes underappreciated?
you. Anybody?
I
Well,
I think it's really I think it's really like having your eye on what you want and going after it. I think my focus has been different. I haven't really reached for that. You have to look at that, want it, and reach for it to make it happen. I think it's not going to just happen. That's what I think. So I don't think it's Cleveland unless it's a mentality that we share in Cleveland and we're just not really trying to go there because maybe we love Cleveland so much. I don't know.
Yeah. Evelyn, you had some thoughts?
I'm just saying there's so much talent in Cleveland, but you know what? There's still a stigma. They say you got to be from New York or Chicago or California. I don't know why that is, when so much of the talent is right here, and it's sort of skipped over to me. And I've seen it. I've been doing this since I was 2. But
Mm.
you know what I mean. But a long
Yeah.
time, and I've watched that. They kind of skip over, which
Hmm.
I always disliked that. I didn't like that.
Shirley, you had some thoughts?
Well, when I started out, I didn't start out thinking that I was going to be a great, presence, but I just wanted to sing. I just wanted to, you know, enjoy myself, and I wanted people to enjoy the music. It's like people that were coming out to hear what I was doing with someone. It's like being a doctor or a nurse. We had the blue collar workers. We had, and so everybody to me have a place. You know, and Cleveland have those places where people can go and listen to the artists that are around town. There is great talent in
Yeah.
Cleveland. But I tell you, when I would sing in front of, get up and sing and stuff, it's like undressing in front of the audience. It's like, you do your best and you keep moving. And if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. But you do have to, as Anita said, put the work in for that if that's what you're looking for. You
Yes.
know, you put your work in. I don't have anything, let's say, about anything against Cleveland, because what I'm doing is enjoying the people. And I can't say a lot of people know us. You know, we don't. I mean, what is famous? Famous is a lot of people knowing you.
Yes.
Maybe we're famous in our prospective places.
Yeah.
Right.
We don't have to travel the world, which I have traveled. You know, and but to be the best that you can be, and
Yeah.
just embrace what you have. Because I didn't even expect to be on a stage performing when I started. It just happened.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, there's a price that goes along with that celebrity and that fame and whatnot, and many who get to that level do things that they regret later on. So, I can safely say that none of you have sold your soul in
No.
order to get to those things. But I just want to invoke the idea that folks in this city need to really appreciate the talent that you do have, and I just hope that people do appreciate it and don't take it for granted.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing. It can be taken for granted. It's just like, again, this is me just venting, so to speak. But being a photographer for 40 years and someone comes up to you with a cell phone and says, "Hey, take my picture and text it to me." Okay. And I can do that, you know, but I eat taking pictures. So when you ask me to take your picture and there's no exchange, then it's an issue. And it's like the talent is taken for granted, you know.
Mm.
Um, Evelyn, Shirley, Anita, you all have talent that would justify somebody paying $100 for a ticket to see you perform, you know, and they'll pay that to somebody that comes from somewhere else that has a name that's recognizable, but somehow it's an issue if they were to be asked to pay $100 to see you perform. And that's what I'm saying about being taken for granted. And I
Yeah.
think that in some ways there have to be measures undertaken to compensate us fairly for what we do. There are cracks that are being, missed. So, I just in advocating for artists, I would like to see people get their just desserts. So I just want to put that on the table.
Because I
But go ahead.
no, I said because I tell a lot of singers, I said you got to love this business. You got to truly love it in order to,
Mm.
sustain out here because you're going to deal with some things such as what you're talking about. Yeah.
Right. And
I
the other thing is, I've heard people be critical of those of us who have decided not to leave Cleveland to grab that,
Yeah.
to grab the ring or whatever, but Cleveland is a great place despite what they say about it. They say that it's the worst place in the country for Black women and all these other kinds of things, but I just look around and I see folks succeeding in various ways. Anita is part of this Hugh People vocal ensemble. CD is coming.
mm,
Things are going to blow up. We're looking forward to that. Shirley is talking about a project that she's going to be working on in the very near future where she'll be able to do what she does. And I know, Evelyn, your phone must stay busy all the time because everybody is calling you to get you to sing. So,
Well,
I
that's
think,
nice. It's nice they still call, you know.
yeah, yeah.
You know, I'm happy because I have a I have, Vince, that I do have children, but I have a grandson. He's a chip off the old block. The old block didn't make it there, but he has. And these are the
Hmm.
baby. He was the baby that always sat around and listened to grandma uh, rehearse and things. So he's on tour right now. He's been on tour a couple of times. He just being on YouTube and playing music and just to himself and stuff. Someone heard him and
Hmm.
they wanted him to come to Tennessee. It was Florida Georgia line, and they thought it was a joke. His mom, oh, somebody's just playing. And they said, within 2 weeks, can you be here? We'll send for you. And so he got with Florida Georgia Line. He's the only African American, and they're pretty big, the only African American that signed a contract with them. And they didn't want him to do their music. They wanted him to support him with his music. So
Oh,
right now he's traveling with the one duo. He's been on tour with them. It's a mother and daughter, the first African American lady country singers. I think they won an award for that. And he's working with them. Disney wants him to write some music for them. And he's just moving along. He said, Grandma, I didn't know it was going to be going this fast. I said, just remember who you are.
Yes.
I said, and don't bite the carrot.
Right.
right.
And I'm happy just because all
Mm.
of my grandkids, well, I have another one that sings all over the place too. So I'm just happy that I could be an extension of what they're doing. I was there in that respect, and they are moving on and they're doing very well.
Yes.
Nice.
Wonderful.
Nice,
Wonderful.
nice.
That's
Wonderful.
great. Wonderful.
So
Yes.
I
So,
Oh,
go ahead,
no,
I,
no,
Evelyn.
no.
and
I love all of y'all,
I talked to Joe Hunter earlier, wonderful piano player that Reggie and he had great respect for. And Joe said to mention that he would have been here, but the collaboration they had together, he just loved and adored working with him. So I wanted Joe to be mentioned
Yeah.
about this. Yes.
Okay. And I'll add to that, Donnie Lene wanted to be with us tonight, and she had pledged to be, but then she had to work tonight. She's, I guess, like a clerk of council or something, one of the local suburbs. So she's got a city council meeting tonight. She wasn't able to join us, but she did share that although she didn't really have a close relationship with Reggie and didn't know him that well, she did talk about the extent to which he affected her. So
Mm.
he had a profound influence on her, and she just had a great deal of love for him. So I wanted to put that out there. And I did invite quite a few folks to join us tonight. But I understand this is a busy season right now, and we had to make an adjustment because Evelyn, you have a gig on Thursday night. But I'm just so happy that you all joined me. And I hope that those who view this program and at whatever point that they do, they'll be able to hear something about him that perhaps they didn't know, and also reflect on their own personal relationship with him. As I said, I didn't really know him that well, but we did have a few encounters, and it was all positive. And I have such a great appreciation for his talent and the contribution that he's made to people here in the city of Cleveland. I want to button up by letting everybody know, and I've been sharing this with all of my artist friends. You're my artist friend, so I'm going to share this with you. The city of Cleveland has a $3.2 million transformative art fund. They're going to be giving out grants ranging from $250,000 to $500,000. The word is not out as it will be in the next few weeks. There will be some announcements made that you'll be able to see on social media and on the internet and so forth and so on. But we have an opportunity to transform some of our Cleveland neighborhoods, and we want artists to be in the driver's seat. So I'm letting everybody know Tune in. The Assembly for the Arts will be acting as a fiscal agent for artists who do not have 501c3s or a partner that they can use as a fiscal agent. So that issue won't be there. We're going to be looking at ways to make it more accessible so that folks who may have challenges with computerization and so forth and so on will get the assistance that they need. But the main thing to understand is that these funds are for the artists.
Oh, that's
So
great.
yeah, so there's going to be an encouragement of collaboration and partnerships with organizations that can contribute as well so that these projects are sustainable and they continue to go on past the life of this particular grant period. The funds will be dispersed between the year 24 and 25. So they have to be spent by 2025. So this is a great opportunity for those of us in the artist community to do something meaningful and leave an imprint that will impact the lives of folks in this city. So there will be more on that. Stay tuned, and we'll be getting this information out through Facebook, YouTube, and some of the other
Great.
areas.
Wonderful. Great.
So,
Great.
Evelyn
Thank you
Wright,
for that.
Shirley Cook, Anita Rose Banks, thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining me on this broadcast. And we'll look forward to seeing all of you on a stage sometime in the near future and projects that go to the moon. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks so
Thank
much.
you.
James.
It was
Appreciate
lovely being here.
it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Ladies.
See you
All
all.
right. All
Bye-bye.
right.